DDG 3240, Designing with Type, Week 3. Great job so far on the first 2 weeks' assignments. I really love this class. So Week 1's hieroglyphic name files were just great. I love the 18 by 24 poster design using all the characters from one font. Those are really fun and playful, and I got all kinds of expressive solutions, from taking the letters, numbers, and symbols to making sunglasses, to taking letters, numbers, and symbols and making a clock and a teapot, and just all kinds of fun solutions. So great job, Week 1. Let's scroll on down here. And I shared this abstraction with you for Week 1. That was really fun. Week 2, very good job with the type anatomy poster and creating a poster, an info poster that basically illustrated those 20 definitions that are provided for your mini project. Good job. And our homework assignment, the bigger project, which was to create the 5 logos, all named the hotspot, and all a different business. So the daycare, the club, the spa, the coffee shop, and the burn center, using only type and only black and white. Really fun, really playful, good job. Be aware of the kerning, the space between the letters, and the leading, the space between the words, and making sure that everything nestles and fits together and doesn't have any kind of weird, odd spaces. Those spaces between the lines there, the leading, can be challenging when you stack words. The kerning and the word spacing can be a bit challenging when you're trying to run the whole phrase on one line, that it doesn't get too elongated. But good job with picking typefaces that work for the demographic and for the industry. Really good job on that. I enjoyed looking at them and critiquing them. And that brings us to Week 3. Week 3, we have a mini project. The mini project is to go out onto Google and type in the Beatles and type in the Beatles lyrics, and you're going to get a bunch of websites. azlyrics.com, I think, is one, and you can go and pick a song, and I want you to copy the lyrics from that song, and I want you to paste it into a 6-inch by 6-inch square document in Illustrator. And I want you to take those poetic verses, those lines of the song, and using bold and italic and changing the size of the letters and changing the kerning and line spacing, I want you to create a expressive solution for the song. And that'll mean probably that the chorus of the song should be italic and a little bit bigger, because it's what they all sing together. So any parts of the song that the band sings together is a harmonized part of the song, so that should be at least italic. Any words that they emphasize when they're singing the song should be bold. If it's a really important word in the name of the song that's also repeated in the chorus or the verses of the song, you should make it a little bit bigger. And we'll see how you do. And this is exercise in visual hierarchy. When I glance at a big page full of text, which is what the song is, there are certain elements that should jump out to me. The chorus should jump out to me. Important words in the verses should jump out to me. And it's just an expression of visual hierarchy. So go ahead and do that for your mini project for today. I always love looking at those to see kind of how you play with type within a block of copy. This is a really important skill with packaging design and magazine layout and places where there's a copy heavy area in your design, because people aren't going to read everything. So they need you to visually lead their eye through the paragraph to the important parts of what you're trying to say. And song lyrics are a great way to do it. And the reason I picked the Beatles is because all of their songs are so illustrative. They're so visual. So let's see what you can do with that in a little 6x6 square. Your homework part of your Week 3 projects is a little bit bigger. And I want you to create a monogram of your initials. You can't distort the letters, but you can change the scale, change the direction, you can outline it, you can reverse or reflect the letter. I just don't want you distorting the letter. And if you go out to, and I'm just going to go out in a new window, and I'm going to do a Google search for you to do monogram logos. You're going to see some amazing solutions. I mean, look at this F and E. I just love this one. There's the F, and here's the E. And you'll know Chanel is a really popular one where they just reflect the letters. Here's a really interesting one with Fendi with the F created into a little locket. Here's a, gosh, that's an interesting logo, Mark, isn't it? It looks like a G and a G, but I don't know if that's a G and an O or not. Here's a J and a B, and here's an L and a D. So here's an opportunity just to play with type a little bit and kind of see what you come up with for a solution. Those of you that are gamers, EA is a really popular, famous one. Here's a J and an F for James Forbes. So here's a J and a K, which is really beautiful. Here's a solution with A and P and Q, where they're playing around with the different letters. So this week's a little bit bigger project, the homework project, is a monogram. Look at that, D and D. Really love that. Is an opportunity to express your initials. This is kind of interesting too, DVF as a solution. Then you get some really decorative ones like this M and B, and this is kind of interesting here. Looks like KAJ for that. Here's G9, which I think is kind of interesting because there's the G part and here's the 9 part, so that's fun. Here's P and D. Here's R and Q. So this is a really fun. Most people are like, man, I always wanted to make a monogram, and some are like, oh, I really dread this monogram process. But here's a really interesting kind of EK solutions and EM, and looks like maybe this is supposed to be EM too, but it's tough to read. EN. So you can see there's all kinds of ways to make ligatures, make letters touch to create interesting. Look at this PR. That's kind of clever. The P and the R, and the counter inside the R is the P. That's really nice. So and I always like I like Roger Federer's logo. Federer logo. The R and the F, where they chopped off part of the R, that stem part, and they chopped off the stem of the F, and they touched the two together to make this really sleek looking RF logo. Here's a great opportunity, a fun opportunity to do your initials. You can't distort it though. I don't want any squishing of the letters. They got to be the letters as the shape they are, the size and scale they are. You can reverse them, you can connect them, you can outline them, you can reflect them, you can make them bigger or smaller. But anytime you change the size of the letters, please make sure you hold the shift key down. You can use lowercase letters, you can use uppercase letters, you can use an upper end a lowercase letter, but it's your initials. And let's see what kind of type solution you come up with using those two letters. Remember, it has to be in Illustrator and it has to be vector based. I would recommend choosing upper or lowercase first, and then choosing a typeface or 2 or 3, up to 5 different typefaces. Once you have, maybe let's say I want to do lowercase and I want to use Arial, I want to use Tahoma, I want to use Garamond, I want to use monotype Corsiva. So let me type my letters now in each of those typefaces, and then let me start touching them and connecting them together to see what kind of shapes I can create out of them. Just no distortion. You can chop off part of the letter if you want, like the Roger Federer logo, but no distortions. Pathfinder tool could be your friend for cutting apart parts of the letter if you want to chop them apart a little bit. But let's see what you come up with as far as this homework bigger project, monogram initials projects are. I always like to say 5 solutions, 5 different typefaces, 5 different concept solutions is a good marker to go for, because that'll give us some different expressions of your initials and some different personalities based on the typefaces you pick. So the mini project is the Beatles lyric song, which you can see the specs right here in the week 3 announcement, where I will also embed this video. And then the bigger homework project is your initials. Gosh, I love this one. It's really hard for students though, because it's hard for them to narrow down a typeface for their initials and come up with something that really reflects their personality, only using their monogram initial letters. But every student that ever does this project, they either say, boy, I always wanted to do this, or I've already done it, but I think I can do it better now. So let's see what you come up with. Remember, black and white only, and it has to be in Illustrator. Have a great week 3, and I look forward to continue interacting in designing with type, one of my favorite subject matters. So I hope you've learned a lot already with using letter form, and I hope that you've enjoyed the class so far, and let's keep pushing the envelope of typography. Good job, class.